Okay, I'm going to talk about it because I've just seen somebody do it. About corrections in training. And I'm not saying to use corrections in training, and I'm not saying that I use... Go and find your ball. And I'm not saying that I use corrections in training. But what I will say is the sequel of what I just... So, critique what I just saw. So, the guy was walking along with his dog. His dog wasn't healing. Good girl. So, when his dog was then pulling ahead, he was shouting at the dog and telling the dog, heel, and then correct. Okay? So, heel, pop, heel, pop, heel, pop. The dog clearly doesn't understand what the command heel means because I wasn't doing it, right? But it is pointless to tell your dog, stop it. It's pointless to tell your dog heel and then correct it, because what you're actually doing is you're pairing those two things together. You're pairing together your command to ask your dog to heel with something aversive, with a feeling that the dog doesn't like, the pop, yeah? So actually, go get the ball. If you're going to use corrections in training, number one, my first go-to is teach the dog positively what heel means. You go into heel position and something good happens, right? We know this. We know that dogs will choose to do things that we reinforce them for. Find it. But if you're set on using corrections with your dog, you are far better off using a negative marker and telling the dog, no, pop, yeah? Because then at least you're pairing the negative marker, you've done something wrong and I'm going to correct you, rather than poisoning your heel cue and making your heel cue predict pain. Yeah? Stop. Good girl. So, I'm not saying that you should use aversives. I'm not saying that you should use lead corrections. I'm saying what you should do is be teaching your dog properly what heel means in a positive way. But for those of you that are using corrections, be really mindful of the fact that you might actually be poisoning your cues by making your cues predict something that the dog doesn't like. Okay? So, why negative marker is really handy, because you can tell the dog no, and the dog understands that's incorrect, try something else. So ideally don't use corrections, but if you do, don't pair it with the command that you want the dog to do. The sequence is wrong for it to work. What would potentially work is you saying no, correcting, as in popping the dog back, and then when they're in heel, yes, and reward. But it just seems nonsense to me. And actually, don't try and punish a dog for something that they don't know yet. It's two different things. If a dog truly knows the command and is choosing to disobey it, to not follow it, that's something very different to sit. Good. That's something very different to a dog not actually understanding how to walk on a loose leash and being corrected for walking incorrectly. To me, that's unfair training. So be fair with your dogs. Okay.